Cilacap in Indonesia is the largest region of Central Java. At the same time, it is also one of the poorest. The southern part is the worst affected. Father Charlie Burrows is once again on the road. The dedicated priest and his organization, Yayasan Sosial Bina Sayatera, have been Miserior partners for many years and advise self-help groups and development organizations in the rural areas. The region was isolated until well into the 80s, had no effective agricultural land and hardly any roads. These are urgently needed in order to bring local produce, like rice for instance, to market. Thus, a major part of the project sponsored by Miserior is the infrastructure, which has to be tackled jointly by the local people and government and YSBS. Stones are bought from a nearby quarry so that the people here can build a road. They must do the construction work themselves. The stones are donated, but all emplacements have to be done by the farmers. They know that such an investment is worthwhile if they are to sell their produce.
A road is the most important economic asset a village can have. As I said, you can't sell anything unless you have a road to take out your produce. So the local people make the road base themselves, totally their own efforts. And then we bring in the rocks. Then the government give them money, they will gravel the road, they will get asphalt either from the government. Our input would be 5%, 50% of the costs would be the local people's efforts in putting in those bridges, carrying the stones and placing the stones.
Expanding the infrastructure creates new jobs. The miners' income is also increasing. Yes, it is better if there is still a demand for stone. Casual workers at the quarries hope for a continued market for their rocks. The villagers meet regularly to do all the planning, execution, and evaluation of the rural development programs. And then they execute their programs together. Involvement of the population in infrastructure expansion is growing. It strengthens team spirit and social interaction and creates a feeling of togetherness. The joint work has also generated a common feeling. We work here together and not just everybody for himself. We support each other and that strengthens common bonds and social cohesion. And also, on behalf of the people here, I want to thank YSBS, which over the years began from Bulgar program, through intensive programs, self-management programs, etc., has been helping people here. Now road base was built. Once, where here was still the sea, there was no road. After the sedimentation, YSBS built road base, and now it can be enjoyed by the public.
Tapi setelah ada sedimen muncul, kita baru proses badan jalan. Alhamdulillah bisa dinikmati oleh masyarakat.
There, where the roads are already finished, trade is flourishing. The farmer's income is growing significantly, as the harvest can be more easily sold in the town. Road expansion also makes it possible to connect smaller villages to the power supply, as peoples are placed on the road shoulder. The new infrastructure enables traffic between towns and villages. This is giving rise to new business fields such as the brick and tile industry, for instance. One of the residents who enjoy the brick industry is Mrs. Nusia. Because her husband was paralyzed due to a stroke, Mrs. Nusia, originally a housewife, got a job as a bricklayer. With about 30,000 rupees daily wages, she can replace the role of her husband to support her family. Is this your principal occupation or the second job? This is my principal occupation. The educational level is also rising. A road system enables students and teachers to reach the schools far more easily. Numbers of schools increased after roads are built, so that all the children can get a good education in their own villages. After obtaining power, the school is also equipped with a computer and the internet to support the teaching-learning process. But most important is, teachers and students are no longer worried about an accident on the road caused by poor road conditions as experienced by Mrs. Supriyatin. I came to Paniko to teach here in early 2010. I live in another district named Sidareha, about 30 kilometers from here. Every day I have to ride a motorcycle to school. In 2010, it rained every day. At that time, the road conditions were still very bad. A lot of holes in the middle of the road. When it rains, the road becomes slippery. I once fell from my bike. Due to a highly slippery road, the front wheels became shaky and suddenly entered a deep hole. I was thrown from the bike, so all my clothes were dirty.
Jalannya itu terlalu dalam airnya, terus roda depan nggak oleng. Nah, besok saya kelempar. Nah, akhirnya badan saya kotor semua jadi.
Economic development in the villages that already has roads and bridges affect the people from other villages to be more active and eager to build their own infrastructure. Here, YSBS only help by providing rocks or other materials they need. People here are very grateful for the help from YSBS for Kertajaya and the surrounding areas. The jointly created infrastructure now also serves as a meeting point for the residents. Such meetings lead to a lessening of distrust in their interaction. The people know that YSBS is a Catholic organization. When we asked them if they were not worried about the Christianization, they answered, "No, I have no such feelings. No, I am actually grateful for any help from Father Charlie. I'm very proud." The southern part of Cilacap is on its way to become an agricultural area. However, a large part of it is still underwater and must first be drained before it can be planted. In order to ensure a sustainable livelihood, YSBS helped the people to drain the swamps by following the principle of sedimentation. Thus, the surface of the ground in the swamp areas becomes more elevated and drier, so that it can be planted with rice. In 2010, with almost 4,000 euro subsidy from Miseria, YSBS built 6 mud channels in Ujong Gagak village. 1 year later, the mud channels had created 480 hectares of land for new rice fields.
Ini kan realita yang udah dilakukan kayak gini, Pak. Ya, tadinya kan pada awal mulanya kan masyarakat istilahnya keraguan.
Initially, people felt a bit hesitant to build mud channels here. They fear that the mud channels will cause major flooding. Indeed, there was a big flood. But the floods bring mud to this area, and it happened. After some floods, a lot of fertile mud settles here. Eventually, this area, formerly a swamp, can be planted with rice. Now, in fact, can be planted up to twice a year. It was not like this. The area was a very deep swamp.
Dulu nggak seperti ini. Pada saat dulu itu dalam, rawa seperti rawa lah. Nah, setelah disodet seperti ini, akhirnya kan sampai ke sana itu kan bisa udah, iya, bisa 2 kali. Malah panennya juga bisa maksimal, bisa buat.
Cilacap's Nusantara Maritime Academy, also known as AMN, is part of the Yayasan Social Bina Sejahtera organization. Among young people, it is the most popular academy in Cilacap, offering higher education. Here, the cadets are trained with a high discipline by professors and professional instructors, and supported by comprehensive learning and practice facilities. With such, a model of education is guaranteed, that the graduates have high competency skills so they can compete in the job market at home and abroad.
Kita lihat di depan ini gyro, ya, gyro kompas, ini gyro.
Akademi di sini termasuknya bagus ya.
AMN is good compared to other maritime private colleges here because it has comprehensive learning facilities.
Yang cukup komplit dibandingkan.
Saya di sini belajar di bidang nautika.
I am a cadet majoring in nautical. I am studying specifically the navigation of the deck. I see a lot of opportunities for me to work in the shipping industry after I finish my study at AMN.
Dari sini itu peluang untuk kerja itu sangat gampang sekali.
Comprehensive learning facilities are priority in the AMN. The basic idea is that cadets experience the learning and practicing process on the campus as much as possible like a labor situation.
Well, the idea was we wanted to be connected with the sea. So we built the building a little bit like a ship. And from the very beginning I had this idea so that they would have a real bridge as part of the academy. So because one of the things is watchkeeping, and the most difficult things for a ship is when they're going in and coming out of a harbour. So you can see the harbour very distinctly from here. So the radar, everything could be working, and the radios and so on and so forth, in the situation exactly where they would be on a ship, yeah?
The AMN has significance for Indonesia because Indonesia is a group of islands. Therefore, the availability of simulators is an absolute necessity in the AMN.
Sangat penting sekali karena wilayah
AMN is very important because the area is surrounded by the ocean. Many of the people here are sailors or fishermen.
Masyarakat sekitar adalah dunia pekerjaannya adalah pelaut atau di perikanan.
The presence of AMN has a huge impact on economic development in the communities around the AMN campus. Every year, more than 1,000 AMN cadets need rooms, food, stationery supplies, laundry services, and many other necessities of life. These needs are providing the locals around the campus a chance to earn money.
Kita kebetulan kan swasta ya.
We work in the private sector. If there is work, there is money automatically. AMN students need rooms to live in. So we can provide rooms for rent by students. Every month or every year, we get income from renting the rooms.
Setiap tahun itu kan kita mendapatkan dari income dari kos-kosan itu.
People like a widow who needs to make some money to live, she can rent out rooms and she can cook food and sell the food to the students. Also, the better off students can have their clothes washed by somebody. So it's so for example, when Miseria gave us the scholarship, it was 40 million rupees, 3,000 euros. The education cost 1/4 of that. So 3/4 would be going into the local people for rooms, renting rooms, selling food, washing clothes, various, it was hand phones, now cell phones, selling cell phone coupons and so on and so forth, yeah?
Project and Impact Monitoring and Evaluation, PIME, is a major part of the YSBS working process. The results of PIME are able to raise quality in realizing future projects, so they will ultimately provide even better results. One aspect that became the focus of evaluation is, what is the impact of the project on the development of attitudes towards pluralism and interreligious harmony at the grassroots level? For that reason, religious leaders and interested parties gather regularly to share the experience in their respective areas. In the beginning, we thought it would be a church project and a Christian organization wanted to spread its faith. But we very quickly realized that this project is for all the people in the region, that Christians and Muslims can work together. For us, that was a completely new experience. From our experience, we found that the projects of YSBS did not have a mission to spread religion, but purely a socio-humanitarian mission. From that experience grew an interreligious harmony. From that experience grew an interreligious harmony. This statement shows a very important aspect of the project impact, especially for a country with a very high level of plurality as Indonesia. Social and humanitarian projects can be the entry point for the community to work together to build harmony.